Welcome back to the InfoWars Nightly News. I'm your host, Rob Dew. I'd like to thank David Knight and Jakari Jackson for sitting in with me on the live portion. This actually here is what you're watching now was taped a few hours earlier. I wanted to take a break from the Boston Marathon bombing and what's going on with that and just talk about some positive stuff. And my next guest is a perfect example of that. Her name is Christina Tobin, and she is founder and chair of freeandequal.org. It's the Free and Equal Elections Foundation. She started this in 2007 after she sold her jewelry business, and the story actually goes back a little farther, and I'm going to let her tell you this, how she got kind of involved in this. When she was 17, she watched her father try to get on a ballot in Illinois, and he was taken off due to the signatures not being valid. So we're going to let her talk to you about that and about some big events she has coming up, trying to bring together people from the left, the right, the center, all together, but basically people who don't want to be considered Republicans or Democrats, because we know they are bought and paid for. I turn now to Christina Tobin. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm wonderful. Thank you for such a lovely introduction, Rob.
Great. Well, I just pulled that out of the hat right there. I was reading some stuff about you. Go back to when you were 17 years old and you were watching your father try to get on the ballot. What was he running for? Or it looks like he was running for governor. And tell us about how that process worked and how he was kind of disqualified from the ballot.
At 17 years of age, it was very personal to me. I saw my dad wrongfully knocked off the ballot to take 25,000 signatures to get on the ballot in Illinois for third parties and independents, only 5,000 for Ds and Rs. So he was wrongfully knocked off the ballot. Dad, Jim Tobin, some viewers may know him. He's been fighting taxes for 35 years, runs one of the largest tax fighting organizations in America, Taxpayers United of America. In any case, a couple years later, he ran for lieutenant governor. I got him on the ballot, which was a big challenge. And then 2004, this candidate by the name of Ralph Nader gave me a call and said, Christina, I need help getting on the ballot. You're the only one that has experience. So I took the job across the political spectrum. I've always been an independent, never voted Democrat, Republican. And a couple years later, I became the national ballot access coordinator for Ralph Nader. To date, I've helped collect on the ground and coordinate over 1 million signatures to get candidates on the ballot from libertarians, Greens, Independents, Constitution Party, even independent Republicans and Democrats challenging the system. And so that's where I derive from at heart, wanting to open up the electoral system. And finally, in 2008, Free and Equal, we hosted our first presidential debate at the Mayflower. First time any alternative debate had been aired on C-SPAN 2, that is, nationally televised, with Ralph Nader, Independent, and Constitution Party Chuck Baldwin. And since then, Free and Equal's taken off since the debate. You may have seen that. Actually, you guys covered it. That was moderated by Larry King and myself. Over 20 million viewers worldwide and top 10 trending on Twitter. And here's Free and Equal today. That's really where we come from.
Yeah, that's exciting to get alternative candidates in the debate, because we've seen that the mainstream Republican Democrats do not want any other voice to come in. They want the tax and war party on the right and the we're still going to tax you and war party on the left. I mean, it's the same creature that we're dealing with. It's like you know, WWE wrestling. You know, the wrestlers, the good and bad guys, are owned by the same system.
I couldn't agree more. What I've learned is that the two-party system, they've been intentionally dividing us for centuries. And so here at Free and Equal, we're here to unite the grassroots movement, from Occupy to Tea Parties to student groups like Students for Liberty, Young Americans for Liberty, Libertarians, Greens, Independents, Independent Democrats, Republicans, just we the people, to come together and break the stranglehold of the two-party system and reform the electoral system. We are a solution-based movement, a positive, powerful, peaceful movement that's rising so quickly. And the timing of being on this interview with you right now, Rob, it's just perfect timing, given everything that's going on in the world right now.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, it's high time that we have something like this. More just a space for independent groups to come together and find a voice, and also find supporters, because it is hard to find a supporter if you're the Constitutionalist Party candidate, you know, knee deep in some Republican or Democratic district. You know, it's hard to find that support. So I do commend you guys for putting your group together. And you guys have a big festival coming up. You're on a tour right now. Tell us about the tour, and then you guys are going to end this summer in a big festival. Tell us about that.
Well, that Larry King debate, that is just to see the beginning of Free and Equal. Last November, I was invited to come and speak at in the Fed rally by a gentleman named Mark Daniels and leaders across the spectrum, Dugan King, Chido, and they put together this amazing event with all the press came and local, ending the Federal Reserve. And so I decided, well, we're better to hold a United We Stand festival than Little Rock, Arkansas. Again, a United We Stand festival in Little Rock on June 22nd at the Verizon Arena. There's going to be over 17,000 people in this arena, and it's just the kickoff for a university bus tour that we're going to hold as early as the fall or next spring.
That's great. And then you have this big United We Stand festival coming up. Tell us about some of the people who are going to be there.
Well, we just confirmed, I want to announce on your show today, Jesse Ventura, the former, as you know, governor of Minnesota. I mean, he came out and won, overcame the odds. He got into the debates, and he's going to come out and address on his book tour, his new book, which is just going to be fabulous, and how he got into the debates, and, you know, that we need to break the stranglehold of the two-party system. Ralph Nader will be participating as well. We have a dynamite lineup from the president of Gun Owners of America, Larry Pratt, to Sheriff Mack, and of course music. Ron Paul couldn't have said it better. The quote here, if ever you can bring about revolutionary changes, two things would be required. Young people would have to be involved, and you would need music. We're going to make it fun. So Golden State Band, James Grunler, thanks to them, the producer, manager, Mike Boggio, they did the song. Have you heard it? They've actually been interviewed with Alex in this war, the bombs. Yeah, so they're going to be the music, and we're going to bring together Sheriff Mack will be speaking there. Amber Lyon, the former CNN reporter whistleblower. I anticipate Ben Swan will be there too. And I just got off the phone with Dr. Ron Paul this past Saturday. He knows about the event and he's interested. So we're really, really excited to bring together music. Tom Morello, I'm expecting and hoping he'll be there, from Lupe Fiasco. We want Joe Rogan to MC the event. Elizabeth Zero will be MCing it. So it's quite a variety, and it's the beginning, again, for creating that national movement. And really, Rob, I want to extend a personal invitation for Alex Jones himself to be up there on stage and joining Jesse Ventura and Ralph Nader, and hopefully Ron Paul and Dennis Kucinich, you know, all of these amazing, honest leaders from media, organizations, you name it, coming together to kick off our university bus tour, which will kick off our national database. And that's another topic I could talk about.
Okay. Well, I definitely want to say this about Jesse Ventura. He actually said on our show, and I'll let Alex know about the invitation, definitely. He said he would actually run for president if he was able to get on the ballot in all 50 states, not as a Democrat or Republican, but as an independent. He said if he could get on the ballot in all 50 states, no problem, he would consider running. And I think we even proposed at the time running as a running mate with Ron Paul, when Ron Paul was running for president. And so Jesse is somebody who I still think is not quite ready to give up on the political system. He still thinks there is something there and that he has something to contribute. So I think that's great that Jesse Ventura is going to be there, and you've got all these other great names: Amber Lyon, Larry Pratt, who we have on this show a lot, Sheriff Mack, who's just, you know, a stalwart, you know, fighting there to, you know, wake up sheriffs and get them on, you know, based on the Constitution. So I think this is going to be a great event that you have going on. Yeah, I also see you've talked to G. Edward Griffin, or is he coming as well?
It's a possibility. I'm very interested too. It's quite a variety of individuals. David Grohl, as we know, with Foo Fighters, he's just kicked off Sound City with Paul McCartney and Stevie Nicks. They're invited, and our producer, Mike O'Donnell, he's actually the artistic producer. You may have heard of Pirates of the Caribbean, Spider-Man 2, Terminator. He's producing the event with Marcy Forgrave of ADM Disc, who produced our Larry King debate. So these wonderful individuals coming together. We even have a 19-year-old kid by the name of Dan Johnson, who started up the People Against the National Defense Authorization Act. In January, 60 chapters he has. This kid that's going to be on stage saying, if I can do it, you can do it, you can do it, to all these kids out there. So this movement is the uprising. It's the history's on our side, the positive, powerful, peaceful, uniting across the spectrum. Parties have been intentionally dividing us for centuries. We're here to unite. Parties don't work. Parties can't be fixed from within. We saw what happened to Dr. Ron Paul, unfortunately. And so this movement and the national database will be launching as early next year. We'll list every single candidate running for office. We'll be linking to InfoWars, honest media, building, driving traffic, pulling in the information through our free and equal network. We'd love to have Alex on that someday too, Jesse Ventura, Ralph Nader, and of course, and so on. Gary Johnson, which just on it last week. But in any case, building and creating our own movement and, well, ultimately bringing integrity within our government and bringing our government back to the origins of the Constitution. And so it's really real, and history's on our side, and this is the movement that everybody's waiting for. And I wholeheartedly hope to meet Alex Jones and Austin soon, and I really want him to be there because this is a movement about bringing everybody together.
Well, it sounds like you're almost fulfilling a trend that Gerald Celente spoke about, how a third party is going to emerge, taking libertarian ideals, taking some liberal ideals together and kind of melding together into this mass of people that is totally just fed up with the system. So you guys are actually fulfilling a trend that Gerald Celente talked about several years ago.
Rob, actually, I don't agree with Gerald because I've been on the inside of the National Libertarian Green Party. And while at the state level, I find integrity for the most part across the board, the national level, even third parties get infiltrated as they get bigger. I've firsthand seen that in the last decade. So, you know, again, parties don't work. The Constitution doesn't mention parties. Yes, our forefathers weren't, you know, they became a part of the problem, but they themselves thought parties were evil. And so, you know, here at Free and Equal, we're here to shift the power back to the independents, the individuals through our national database. And this festival that we're having is, again, the kickoff for the 10-stop university bus tour. It's going to have music. It's going to be fun, entertainment, comedians, social media networking. It's those kids, the youth that are watching your show today. They're the game changers for the 2014 state, federal, local races. They're the ones that are going to make a difference in the world, and they're the ones that are going to get involved with the process of running for office. Maybe I ran at 28 years of age for office. And by the way, Rob, I'm in Arkansas today, traveling across the state. I've had dozen or more already in our first stop or two, newspapers, radios, announcing, being on the ground. And we're actually being hosted at 3 different universities, Little Rock, Jonesboro, so on, that are hosting us, the faculty, student groups, again, from Young Americans for Liberty. It's that connection on the grassroots level that is really key into reforming the system and making the world a better place. And when we do, technology will advance, people will live longer. There will be cures, I believe, for everything. As you know, the government's been intentionally holding back technology. Let's fix that.
Well, that has some great ideas in there, and I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I have a couple questions for you. One, how are you going to choose candidates that you are going to support in these state and local elections? And then, another part of this is, how is the national media treating your organization? Do you find they're dismissive? Do you find that they try to push you aside as compared to the grassroots media? If you can answer those two questions.
Well, as far as the national media, you know, the Larry King debate, we were somewhat ignored. It was the international media. Who would have thought? RT America, Al Jazeera, Larry King's show came in, Aura TV, and covered us. Then C-SPAN, finally, the final day came in, but MSNBC showed it, Jimmy Kimmel even. So we're breaking through the media. And what I've learned is that, you know, the candidates in office, these and ours alike, they're controlled by Wall Street, you know, which the Federal Reserve, you know, it's a private institution signed in by Woodrow Wilson back in 1913. It's a private institution, you know, run by a few powerful people. And so here at Free and Equal, we're going to create our own media, again, through the Free and Equal network to build others like InfoWars and through the national database. And your question, I believe, was about candidates.
Yeah, how are you going to choose candidates to back, or what will that process be?
Well, Free and Equal is a nonprofit. So as a nonprofit, our role is to, for example, if there's 15 or 20 candidates that run in your local races in your area in 2014, they'll all be equally listed on the database. Also the money, if they're getting money from a super PAC, if we don't know the amount, we'll say, oh, the executive board of directors are these. We'll know if a super PAC's good or not. We'll be linking to, conferences that we have, leaders, media, InfoWars, and just all these different genres of honest media leaders to help create that intellectual dialogue, positive dialogue. And so while Free and Equal cannot endorse the nonprofit, you better believe that I will be personally endorsing a lot of candidates. What kind of candidates? Maybe a 10 or 20 point platform of, being against the NDAA, against SOPA, against, drones, against the drug war, against war, some pretty basic things that we can agree on across the spectrum. So we will create that free and equal level playing field for candidates to be able to win. And we'll be doing that and indirectly and directly offering the resources through the Free and Equal movement, which again is here to build others.
Excellent. Well, how can people find out more about Free and Equal and the United We Stand Festival? Where do people go?
Sure. United We Stand, you can go to our website, Free and Equal, freeandequal.org today, freeandequal.org. You can volunteer. You can RSVP for your tickets. We're going to sell them in a week or two, starting at $25 a piece. We want to open it up. This whole movement is about getting the youth to run for office. I did it at 28 years of age. You can do it. You can. And so we're going to give them, again, the resources, the ability to win. And you can find, again, our event is United We Stand Festival, June 22nd. It'll be Saturday in Little Rock at the Verizon Arena at freeandequal.org. Alex Jones, you're invited. Would love to have you there. The future is a positive. That's the market. We all know the problems. Now we can't be angry anymore. We have to be positive, and that's the direction that we need to go in to make the world a better place. And you are wholeheartedly welcome by not only myself, but the dozens of leaders on the ground, our national team, to come out in Little Rock and be a part of this historic event.
All right. Well, it sounds like it's going to be a big party. I'm pretty excited to see how it turns out, and we'll be getting more updates from you in the future. And I can imagine we'll have a if Alex isn't able to make it, because he does do a lot of work here. I mean, he was here for 14 hours yesterday working. Well, we'll definitely, I think we can have a camera crew there showing people what's going on and maybe getting some good interviews with some of the guests that you have speaking. It's an exciting lineup. So thanks for talking with us, and we will talk with you soon.
See you soon. See your crew there, and hopefully, Alex, this is it. This is the movement. Thank you.
All right. Well, there she goes. That's Christina Tobin with freeandequal.org. And, I think it's great that we're having a group dedicated to just getting out of the two-party system. That's what we need. And look, what you're going to find when you get diverse groups of people together, there will be some differences. But we have to understand that we all have to find some common ground in the fact that our current system is totally broken, and we do need to do something about it. And I think this is a step in the right direction. And with that, that's our show tonight. If you're watching this on YouTube, please consider becoming a member of prisonplanet.tv. It's only $5.95 a month. And you can also share your username and passcode with up to 11 people who can simultaneously be logged on with one username and passcode at the same time. So it's prisonplanet.tv. We have Alex's movies in there. There's a great one in there that just passed up from the former sheriff's deputy. That's Eddie Craig. Over 2 hours of information that you need to know, especially before you get pulled over by the police in their transportation code system. You want to know the facts so you have them on your side. And with that, that's our show. We'll see you next time. This is Rob Dew with InfoWars Nightly News.